We're taking a different look at the war between Israel and Hamas. One tactic Israel is employing is the use of targeted assassinations, from letter bombs to exploding mobile phones to drone strikes. Targeting enemies for assassination has long been part of Israel's playbook.
Yeah, but can that tactic work against an organization as large and as spread out as Hamas? Well, that's the topic of an article on NBCNews.com right now. It's written by our own global security reporter, Dan DeLuce.
Dan joins us now. Dan, thanks so much for being here. So let's start by asking you that very question. Can this practice of targeted assassinations work against something like Hamas?
You know, Joe, I think it's an open question, but if we look at the past, a lot of these types of operations did not destroy Hamas, did not eliminate their adversaries. It could weaken them, it could disrupt them for a time. But assassinations really are a tactic, one that raises a lot of obviously moral and legal questions, but it's really not a strategy, right? The ultimate solution, even some former Mossad, Israeli intelligence and military officials say, is some kind of ultimate diplomatic solution. But it is a way of striking back at Israel's enemies, and it's a way of trying to create some deterrence.
Let's take a look back. I mean, before the founding of modern Israel, this as a tactic, nuclear scientists in Iran, the campaign to avenge the murders of Israeli athletes back at the 1972 Olympics. How effective is it overall as a tactic when you really think about broader accomplishing goals?
It really was something that from the beginning Israel chose as a tactic. They felt they had to strike back at some of these groups and that it wasn't sort of a conventional military problem that could be solved through those means. You know, we're looking at those images from the 1972 Munich Olympics where this horrible massacre occurred where Palestinian militants ended up murdering Israeli athletes. And Israel decided then to go and find and hunt down anyone they felt was associated or indirectly responsible for those killings. And they succeeded. There's, of course, a famous movie about this now by Steven Spielberg. But they did make a mistake. They misidentified someone in Norway in the ski resort in Lillehammer, and they killed a Moroccan waiter who they thought was a very senior aide to Yasser Arafat. And it ended up being exposed by the Norwegian authorities, and the Israeli intelligence agency suffered not only embarrassment, but lost a lot of their network in Europe. So there are high risks with these kinds of operations. And of course, there's always a risk to innocent civilians and bystanders.
Dan, looking at modern times, we had just over a week ago a drone strike killed a senior Hamas leader in Lebanon. U.S. officials said Israel is behind it. Israel has not claimed responsibility. What kind of impact do these assassinations have on the peace talks or lack thereof, and specifically toward this effort of trying to get the remaining hostages who are being held by Hamas?
You know, Joe, I think that Israel had to really weigh a lot of factors when they went after that senior Hamas leader, Aruri, in Beirut, in the heart of a Hezbollah stronghold. You know, many people are now saying, and diplomats are saying, that strike, while obviously damaged Hamas, may have jeopardized hostage negotiations to try to secure the release of the remaining Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Of course, Qatar has been the intermediary between Hamas and Israel, with the Israelis' intelligence chief going to Doha to try to negotiate that. By going after this senior Hamas leader in Beirut, it does raise the question whether the hostage negotiations have been set back. There's really no imminent deal right now to get the rest of those hostages out. And the Israeli government just decided that they would take the risk.
All right, Dan DeLuce, thank you so much to our viewers. Please check out his full story at NBCNews.com.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.